In today's video, we're going to be covering investments for the leaked icon SBCs we're going to get every single day next week. So just before the video does start, a quick little ad on a trading service I offer over on Twitch. For the cheapest premium trading service for just £4, €4 or free with Amazon Prime. You'll get yourself daily trading and investing guides covering both Xbox and PlayStation with an array of different techniques depending on your budget. I've been trading for over 10 years, making over 100 million on multiple titles, and recently making over 10 million in the first month for the last 3 years. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about the newly leaked icon SBCs. We're going to be talking about how reliable is this leak. We're going to be talking about what rose during the icon SBCs last year during Team of the Season. And then the ending of the video, we're going to go talk through multiple different avenues and multiple different players that you can go and invest in, gambling off different requirements. So after analysing it, it's actually quite interesting because last year during Team of the Season, EA didn't actually drop any icon SBCs. In fact, we can see that they dropped Wayne Rooney here, but then we can keep on going weeks in, weeks out, and they really didn't drop anything. You can see week after week after week, and there were no icon SBCs. So the players that we're going to be using is we're going to be using Rooney. We're going to ignore the Blanc because he's cheap. We're going to look at the Carlos Alberto that was dropped towards the latter end of Team of the Season. They then went and dropped Pirlo, but Pirlo's too cheap for me to want to see how the market reacted. Again, we go week in, week in. See, they just didn't really drop many icons during Team of the Season. But they're going to be using Kaka, but actually one of the players that I think is going to be the most interesting to look at was not actually during Team of the Season, and it was during Shapeshifters. And that is going to be the likes of a Savio. That's because a Savio would have been a multi-million coin icon. What we're going to be doing is using those 4 SBCs I showed you. I'm going to be pinpointing when they were released. I'm going to be pinpointing what fodder went up, what were the requirements, and we'll see where the investments were. So the first icon SBC that we're going to be analysing is the likes of Carlos Alberto. Now Carlos Alberto's requirements were relatively modest. 7 teams were needed: classic bronze team, classic silver team, 84 rated, 86 rated, 87 rated, and 88 rated, and an 89 rating. So what I've gone and done is I've gone and analysed every rating from 87 to 92 and see how they've done. So start off here with the likes of Modric, who was 13k, went up to 16k, so not too bad in all fairness, but he did peak 2 days after he came out. We then look at Cruz, who went from 15k and peaked up there about 17k, so not so good on the 88s. We then move to 89s, which are going to be the likes of Casemiro and Edison. If we look at these went from 21k and they peaked up there about 25k. We look at Edison again, and he went from 21k, peaking up there for about 25k. We then move to the likes of 90s of Harry Kane. He went from 26k up there to about 29k. Then we move on to 91s, who went from 35k all the way up there to 40k. And then we move on to 92s, who went from 40k to 44k. So the rises really weren't anything too special. If the best rises were on anything, it was on 91s. And it was actually on the 90s to 91s, and then 87s were okay. The second SBC was the likes of Kaka, who was released on the 14th of June. So let's go through the requirements. Bronze, silver, 84 rated squad, 86 rated squad, 86 rated squad, 87 rated squad, 88 rated squad, and an 89 rated squad. So coming in very, very close to the likes of Carlos Alberto. But there is potentially more demand for him, or we might have been in a completely different supply situation. So now let's have a little look at how these players perform. So starting off here with 87s, looking for the likes of Kaka. There really wasn't any rise on the release of Kaka. Interesting enough, it was the day after and the day after that, and that seems to kind of be a consistent trend. So the problem is I couldn't pinpoint this fully to Kaka, because we know on the Wednesday you get the guaranteed Team of the Season SBC, which, you know, is the reason the market could have risen. So we then moved to the 88s, and the same thing right here. Kaka came out on the 14th. We actually didn't see any rise on the 14th. It was the day after is when they rose, which means it could be an accumulation of Kaka and an icon SBC making the market quite rare. But Kaka himself really didn't seem to shift the market. Once again, 14th, or the day before the 14th, 25th, day of the Kaka, 24, day after 26. Even for something like an 89, they really didn't rise anything too interestingly. 24, then up to 26. But they moved all the way through to 90s, and once again, it was up the day before, held 33. But it wasn't until 2 days after Kaka, which was the Thursday, which is when they rose, which again I'd probably pinpoint to the guaranteed. So absolutely nothing here rose with Kaka. So first SBC, slight rises. Second SBC, no rises. Let's go and move on to the third SBC and see how that reacted. So now we're going to go and cover Rooney. Rooney was actually the first of the icons, but it doesn't really make that much of a difference. Rooney was going to drop on the 9th of May, coming out with the requirements of a bronze squad, a silver squad, an 83, an 84, an 85, an 86, and an 87, and an 88. So let's have a little look at how fodder went. Well, start off here with Immobile, and once again, no one really gave a toss, didn't rise. We then head to the likes of Cruz, and once again, no one really gave a toss. We then look at the likes of 89 Casemiro, and once again, no one really gave a toss. We then look at the likes of Edison, once again looking at the 9th, and no one gave a toss. Then move to 90 Kane, and no one gave a toss. Then get to 91 Oblak, and no one gave a toss. So then get to the final player that I'm going to go and analyse, and that is the likes of a Savio. Now, Savio came out on the 27th of June. He came out with 14 teams, with 1 bronze team, 1 silver team, 183, 184, 185, 186, 2 86s, 187, 2 87s, 188, 2 88s, another 89, 2 89s, and a 90, and a partridge in a pear tree. Alright, so let's have a little look at what happened to the market. So, Immobile, how did you react on the 27th? You didn't go up, but you went up 2 days later, so we couldn't really credit that up. We then moved to the likes of Toni Kroos, and Toni Kroos did rise, went up 5k. We then get to the likes of Casemiro, once again, 27th, how did you do? Kind of went up 3k, so not amazing. We then get to the likes of Edison, and Edison went up like 2k maybe. Kane, we then get to Kane, and Kane went up 3k. We then get to Oblak, and Oblak went up 6k. We then get to the likes of Sanagre, and Sanagre went up, what do you got there? 12k. I then want to check some of the slightly higher ratings just to see why did that Sanagre happen, but I don't actually think the Sanagre was because of a Savio, because I went and checked this Goodwin, who is literally higher rated than Sanagre, yet he did not rise on the 27th with the likes of a Savio. So, a Savio did not rise anything. So, after analysis of all of the icons, again, 3 that were dropped during Team of the Season, 1 that was dropped after Team of the Season but was super expensive, none of them rose fodder, and not even the super high rateds rose fodder anything interesting enough to want to invest in them. But some of you guys might have a dying urge to go and invest in fodder for these icon SBCs and go, well, I don't really care what happened last year. You know, we're living in the current times, not the past. So here are some investments that I think, if anything does well, I think these will do well. So at the end of the video, who would I recommend buying? In my opinion, I think you just want to go and buy as high rated as possible, because the higher the rating, the less players there are that are fodder. For example, we look at like 90s and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 players who are fodder. We look at 91s and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We look at 92s and there's 1, 2. We look at 93s and there's 1. And then obviously there's a 50k difference. So my recommendations would be picking up Fulkerk, Cobble and Brandt. And I think if you want to look at an even nicer investment, I'd say Brandt and Cobble look really, really good. Because I think that these guys are link investments to Royce, who's a very highly completed SBC through the week. We're also likely to get an SBC key arrow. So basically you can look at it as, do you know what? If they don't go up for the icon SBCs, we did see a lot of the cheap Team of the Seasons rise out of packs for the Prem. Maybe they'll just rise because of, you know, a double investment of them being needed for, or being used in people's teams, or being used to link up the likes of the SBC Guerrero and SBC Royce. So I'd be looking at picking up the Cobble, and the Brandt, and Fulkerk. But again, Cobble and Brandt are looking better. So ideally you're just going to go and buy these players whenever they stop dropping after division rivals, or they stop dropping after marquee matchups. But if you really need me to hold your hand and want a price that I can't guarantee will be the cheapest, but it's just a price maybe you're half happy to buy at, Cobble's up to 25, Brandt's up to 35, and Fulkerk's up to 24, with once again the Dortmund players being better than Fulkerk because they do offer a more desirable links to the likes of Royce and Guerrero SBC. In terms of selling them, if they absolutely boom when the Ronaldinho comes out, sell them then, because you can't guarantee that later in the week you're going to have an SBC as demanded as Ronaldinho. If they don't bang, you could probably wait later into the week. The only worry is the later you wait, the more of the current Team of the Season that are SBC fodder drop. So, for example, you know, obviously in the Bundesliga team this season, there's like 4 or 5 of these guys that are fodder. Well, later in the weekend, the more packs are open, and in theory these drop, which as a result means there's more 92s and 93s that become SBC fodder, which means that, you know, 93 and 92 red SBC fodder is more saturated if you're picking up what I'm putting down. If not, just sell them when they go up in price nicely. But that is going to be that for today's video. Hopefully it has helped you guys and saved you guys loads of time in research. I've probably spent over an hour of research, so drop a like, it would be greatly appreciated for my well-being of researching FIFA 22 trends. But thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow with a brand new investment video.